This podcast is a production of Digital and Creative Media Works. To help support us, head to dcm.works to find links to our other show notes, Patreon, and merch. Hey guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast, official podcast of Digital and Creative Media Works. My name is David, DCM, creative director, lead writer, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Ben.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh man,
What's
and
a good
this
one?
week we had a treat. We had a delicious treat
boy.
of delicious good narrative, and it was the storytelling of It.
Of what?
Of It, Stephen King.
That one?
I didn't start
It?
the timer. Could you get up and start the timer?
All right,
Click cancel
sure
on
thing,
that
Dave.
one. Power through. I think I start. Yeah, cool. So this week we watched It. We just saw it, and like
Literally just saw it.
We're jazzed, man.
Fuck,
It was real fun.
God,
I had
it's
a really great
it's
time.
a bloody fucking fantastic film.
I think I can see why people had some criticisms of it. I think that they've missed the point of the film. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but like, I feel like there's definitely an element of that. No, so I thought the narrative structure was really strong. I thought the characters were really compelling, but the best part about this film is they got the kids right. Like, it's based on Stephen
Yeah.
King source material. The kids felt like characters. They did stuff that kids do, like swear like kids do.
Oh, yeah.
They do dumb jokes like
yeah.
kids do. Oh my god, it was so
The-
refreshing to see like rounded children in fucking film again.
Like real children
Oh,
and
man.
like decent acting. Like the like sort of kid plot lines that are like real but
Realistic.
not too corny. Like not too campy.
They are on the side of cliche, but only cliches that we've all experienced.
Yeah, the right kind of cliche. The kind of cliche that is like is cliche for a reason.
And we've all, like, yeah, you've all felt those.
Yeah, everyone's been, what's his name? The tubby kid.
Everyone's been the fat kid, and everyone's
been the fat kid.
No, everyone knows what it's like to be the kid who doesn't know, like, I don't want to kiss the girl, and then you kiss the girl, and you're like, I should have kissed her way earlier. Like,
Everyone's been there.
everyone's been there.
Yeah.
I think if I died, they would put on my tombstone, David, just kiss the girl. That's what they would write on it. But I was always that kid. But no, I was a loudmouth kid. What am I talking about?
So
But, you know,
you didn't think it was scary enough.
well, no, that's not
I
what I said.
think-
I thought it was scary, but I thought the right amount of scary. In that, I mean, you phrased it well in the car about the self-awareness. Of
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like a decent. It was like a new. It was good scary. It wasn't like loud noise and like jump cut and spooky.
Right.
And like loud noise and spooky face. Like it was. There was like two instances of that, but they would never like all of like the jump scares were never like really hard. They were like they were either just like super obvious and it was just like, what is this grotesque thing gonna look like? Or they would do it in such a way where it was like a slow reveal. So like people who were
You knew
like,
what was coming.
Yeah, you'd get like a thing and then it would like do something. You'd be like, oh, that's creepy. Like it would start off, you'd be like, that, it's a little
Something's about
unnerving,
to
and then it
happen.
would do a thing. You're like, that's.
You know what it is, and it tapped into something that a lot of Stephen King films really struggle with, which is that it found the center of his horror in a way that translates to film, and that's like hard to do, right? Because a lot of the Stephen King horror comes from it's a book,
Yeah.
so you can't see what's happening, so you're limited to what King gives you. And we're gonna be burpy, but there's like an inherent horror in the way that he can write psyches. Like, a great example of this in this film is that there is just a father who like rapes his daughter.
my
He's not like a clown villain or like a psychic.
No,
he's just
a horrible
a
human
guy
being.
who abuses his daughter.
He's legitimately the scariest part of film, and he's just a dude.
And then the kid, then you have the alternate of that where Stephen King is playing up that trope of like everyone in films is just being psychologically manipulated with the kid who then goes and pursues them. So Stephen King is very self-aware of that whole process. So he
Yeah.
gives you like, here's one that's like what you expect, and then here's just a father who abuses his daughter, and you're like,
Oh.
like it's just, and there's
The most unnerving bit of the film is just him.
the horror of watching her.
Even like the minute he comes on the screen, you're just like, this guy's a fucking asshole.
I think this is something that they did so well, and I'm stuttering because I'm tired, but like they did an incredible job of finding the stillness in the real in the real characters and making that scary. Like the way that these characters move slowly, the father in particular, they have this like this slow anger to them.
Yeah.
Versus Pennywise, who sort of is waiting, and then bam,
And he's like,
things happen. Whereas like the abusive people, because it's true in real life, is like it seeps into every fiber of your life. And I thought that this did a really good job of doing that without being
Yeah.
like, it wasn't like the whole film's about abuse and stuff. It's just like this is part of a
the
Stephen King
whole
story.
film is about fear, primarily.
Right.
and
Yeah.
they do a really good job of developing each of the kids' like primary fear, and it's not in a really ham-fisted way. Like you kind of you slowly pick up and be like, oh, you know, this kid he's probably afraid of disease and germs because he seems like the kind of character. So then like he gets like his sort of Pennywise moment like halfway through the film with like the leper, and you're like, and at first you're like, that's a zombie man, and you're
No,
like,
it's a
well,
leper,
no,
makes
it's a
sense.
leper. Yeah, it's he's afraid of disease. And each of the like the like it was at the start of the film, like you could kind of feel the beats happening, where it's just like, all right, now this kid's getting a spooky moment.
Yeah.
Now this kid, like each kid got their introduction, and kind of like that. The pacing of that was kind of just like, okay, another scary bit. Okay, now we're at the cool place. Okay, another scary bit. It's like, okay, then like it got a bit tiring after like the fourth one.
Well, then you got Beverly's, and you were like, oh,
You got Beverly's,
Like-
and you were just like, okay,
that was when you went, okay, that was what they were building to.
Yeah,
Like
well, I
she
think-
she literally like gets strangled and drowned by the thing that she cut
Well,
off
you-
to
she
try and
also-
prevent the abuse. Like,
She also got like the sort of pseudo reveal of that the parents can't see. They never really play with that beyond just him.
They seeded that nicely, and that'll come back in part 2, obviously. But like, I thought it was really something they did in this that was really good is that they went. We have a story to tell because the Stephen King's book is split into 2 books basically.
Yeah.
And they were like, we have a succinct. I'm gonna try and stop referencing the book because I know people get really annoyed at that. But they were like, I have this succinct thing that's happening
Yeah.
with this story, and then we've got the second part. So what we're gonna do is plant seeds for that second part. We're not gonna like dwell on it too deeply. And I thought they did a good job of that with like, you know, Pennywise's fear, and then he kind of falls down the well, and it's like it's a deeper well. And like there's some clever stuff they did that I'm really excited to see them. If they get the same filmmakers back, then like they have like
Oh,
a
man.
potential like fucking gangbuster sequel in their hands.
Yeah, and there was no like the ending tied well to the quote unquote sequel that we already have. The first It movie, which is
Yeah.
hot garbage.
They're not good.
Yeah, but they didn't like dwell on like the sort of consequences. It was weird. I was almost like expecting the film to end when they did that weird musical breakdown bit, where after they went into the house for the first time, they came out and failed, and the music started playing. I was just like, I was
fake
like,
you out pretty good
I was
there,
like,
don't they?
if they had the film here, this is gonna be really funny.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
I was half expecting. I was just like, they could just end it. Like
man. Yeah.
it would suck because I want more, but like I could see them just pulling it off.
I mean, I get that. Like, and that's the clever thing. Like, they did a 5-act structure instead of a 3-act,
a
and I thought
3-act,
that was
yeah.
really clever. Like, you know, I've got you can't see it from here, but I've got that on my wall over there. Because I'm just that kind of a person. That's that big document. But like, it helps when you like referencing stuff. But I don't know. To me, what they did was they took source material. They understood. There's something that the Nerd Writer said in his Ghost in the Shell episode, which is that it's not about like making an adaptation that's like true to the source material. It's about understanding why the source material was powerful in the first place.
Yeah.
And this is like the antithesis of the Dark Tower film. Like, this understood so deeply why the book works, and then you look at the Dark Tower.
Then
and
you
they
look
so-
at the Dark Tower.
they
Yeah.
so deeply misunderstood why the book works. They went, oh, it's guns and it's magic. This was the opposite. They went, well, it's not about the clown. It's about the kids, and it's about courage.
Yeah,
it's,
and
it's about,
the clown isn't scary. The clown's actually kind of funny.
the clown's kind of funny.
The clown's really kind of funny.
Like,
in
some of the
this
stuff he does is like kind of funny because he's a clown.
This film, there were moments where like you'd go from like sheer like fear, like just
laughing.
like to just laughing because it's just so ridiculous. Like when he started dancing, I couldn't
God,
fucking
it's so
help
funny.
it. It's the funniest fucking scene. It's
Because
meant
you
to be
want to
this-
laugh, and it's like, but that's like so like think about how clever that is, right? Characters are in mortal
This
danger.
horror film
and they
makes
make
you laugh. Yeah.
It's so smart because you want to laugh because it's horror, right? But they're like, no,
you
no,
want
no.
to you want to
Here's-
cower because it's horror.
Like,
But
here's your pass to laugh, and you start laughing, then something horrific happens, and you go, oh shit. There was a few moments in this where we both audibly were like, oh fuck, like it's under our breath, like voluntarily. Like there was a few times where, you know, a thing would happen, and we'd both be like, fuck.
There were moments where it was, I think most like at the start of the film when we were sort of like before we kind of like chilled out a bit and sort of got into the groove, like it's really obvious when you know sort of like the spooky bits happening, and we were both just like,
I was like a pretzel, man. I was like trying to
we
like.
would both just be
go
like,
into
we'd
myself.
both just like inhale,
you
like
could-
right, like the music
Oh,
starts
man.
with just like,
There was a bit where they
Okay.
where it was with when you first see George going down into the basement, and like and
Well, like-
there's a moment where he goes into George's bedroom and the lights turned on. And he turns around and there's like a shadow on the door frame. I lost my mind. I was like, no, I don't wanna. Like,
I think
I don't wanna.
I think the funniest thing was we were at literally the start of the film, like the moment Georgie goes outside, the moment he puts on his yellow
Oh my
thing,
God,
we
I
were
tensed
both
the
just
fuck
like,
up.
and then he puts the thing on the water and it starts going down the
man.
the water. We were just like, and then it goes to the drain. We're just like,
They did. I gotta say something about that opening scene. They did such a good job of
fucking
not.
fantastic.
They did a good job of not making that scary, right?
They
Like,
did such a good job of just not fucking around with you and just like they showed
look,
you
here's the clown.
Pennywise. Like,
It's
look,
like,
there he
yeah,
is.
2 minutes.
You're
It's
just
so
like,
smart,
You
'cause-
you know exactly what he does. They
Yeah.
don't fucking keep him in the shadows
my
and
God.
just do like a quick jump scare.
Because
Like
they know.
present him and they give him dialogue and he talks with one of the characters for like a minute, and then you're like they actually develop Pennywise as a character, not just like the monster, right?
Yeah.
So like throughout the film, like every interaction with Pennywise is actually like engaging because it's not just it's him, I have to be scared. It's it's him. What kooky shit is he gonna
do?
say
Yeah.
this time?
What horror is he gonna create?
Yeah.
That he thinks is funny, and like
it's just and like the balloons, like it's just every time you see a balloon, you cringe, but at the same time you just have to laugh because it's so dumb.
It's my sphincter tightens, but I also giggle. Like my balls go inside me, but I'm like laughing a bit.
Like when the scene where he gets given where the bully gets given back the knife, I was like, is it a gun? But it was a knife. I was like, makes more sense. But it was just like when I saw the thing and he's like walking up to it like a fucking like
So
zombie, I was just
good.
like,
It's ridiculous. But then he kills and I just like I was
kills Jack Nicholson.
You-
which
you go-
first of all, that's an offense.
we see
We see you, boy who looks like Jack Nicholson.
we see you production casting team. You were like, how can we
Yeah.
ever? Man, though, when he killed him, I was like, he ain't gonna do it, and then he did. I was like, fuck. Like I've read the book, but like in that moment, I was like, he ain't gonna do it, and then he did. I was like, oh,
Well,
like
I loved the.
so it was like just like a horrifying.
And then like the fucking TV show being like, kill them all, and you're like.
it's so campy.
It's so,
but
that's the thing, it's so campy, but at the same time, like that camp, and like literally the camp moves away, and there's Pennywise in the background. And you're like,
yeah, you go. Ha, 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 ha. It is that.
and it zooms in his face. You're like,
This film, I think, and the thrust of the thematic thing this film does really well is it finds that childhood thing of fear and comedy sit really close to each other when you're a kid.
it's so close.
Like, because when you see it in this film, right, where it's like you have funny moments, and then one kid will be like, "Oh, fuck me," and you're like, "Oh, that's funny," because like that's what like kids that when you're an adult, they separate, right? Because you have comedy, which is how you relax, and then fear, which is how you live most of your days, because you're an adult and you have like bills and you have like fear is like a constant part of your life, but as a kid. Fear and comedy are
Fear
so
is, like,
close.
new. Yeah,
'Cause it's
fear is
like,
a new
it's
thing.
fresh, and comedy's new because you just learn that you can make your mama jokes and you can say
Yeah.
fuck and you can say shit
and you can
balls.
constantly make sex jokes.
And it's like, and they sit so close when you're a kid, and something that this film did like so well, and I love it for this because the books, they're all about this. Is it's like kids are like that, and that's something Stephen King gets. He's like, kids understand that comedy, and then this weird like horrific thing behind it
Yeah.
sits so close. You've got this kid who, she's the only girl in the group, and she's kind of funny, and she's actually the most courageous of them all, really, except for Billy. But Billy's only courageous because of his trauma, and like,
Yeah.
she's also only courageous because of her trauma. And then you've got, when you bring those characters together in these stressful situations, what you see is that they have to find some like level of like brevity in what they're doing, and then you have the loudmouth kid who's always doing the brevity, and so what you
Yeah.
get is this great fucking dynamic where it's like you have these super serious scenes punctuated by, if a kid was in that situation, they would say that.
Well, they also didn't like in the moments that mattered, they didn't do a Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they, like I come back to Guardians every time they have like scenes like this, but the Guardians scene where the moment when they're I think they're in the jail and they're on the ship. The line where Rocket is just like, we're all standing up now. We're just a bunch of idiots
assholes.
standing up. And it's like, that is like such a new trend that
What's lampshading?
lampshading, like taking serious moments and then just being like, haha, jokes, we can't be heartfelt and have heart. We have to make everything a joke.
It's like you can't be honest though.
Yeah, and
it's
and
just-
it was
yeah.
nice that the moments in this film that mattered, that needed to be earnest, weren't like, they made the loud kid shut up, and they made, like, I was expecting a line from the kid who, like, the fucking germaphobe, when they were like
Holding hands.
they're holding hands. I was like, my first thought was just like, that's how you spread AIDS. But it's
Right,
like,
but
I was waiting for the kid to say it, but they didn't, because that scene matters.
Also, because when kids know, and this
and also, those kids probably don't have AIDS. Like,
also like they held opposite. They went opposite hands.
yeah, but
like
I was expecting him to be like gross, but like,
But that's a clever thing, right? Because kids don't, when it matters, and like, because people think kids are dumb, and like, teenagers are stupid, kids are fine, right? But
Yeah.
like, people think kids are dumb.
well,
but
kids,
the truth
kids
is,
are stupid, but they're kind of aware of their own stupidity. But
Yeah,
teenagers
and-
think they're the shit.
and you
fuck
know,
you, teenagers,
hey,
in front of us in
front of us in the cinema, fucking
Fuck
get
you.
wrecked.
God damn, you fucking.
We have an
ruined my
internet
cinema
show,
experience.
and you live with your parents.
You
you
ruined
fucks.
you ruined our cinema.
Enjoy school
experience.
tomorrow, bitch. That was just like a personal vendetta.
They have
What's up?
They're on school holidays at the moment.
Shit, enjoy being on holidays more. They tried to sneak in without buying tickets at the start,
Yeah, and then
and then they came back in with tickets, and I'm like, why didn't you just buy tickets?
the person came up and was just like, you guys need to buy tickets, and they were like, oh, okay, and it's like,
It's like, just go buy tickets. That's how the commerce works.
spend
Anyway,
money?
I don't. This is not but just like,
Let's-
come on, guys.
yeah.
What we
Kids are
pivoting
good.
to? What was it? Oh yeah. Well, kids are smart. Like they get moments sometimes. Like when that's happening, that's like a moment, and like you get it. And there are brief moments in your childhood where you tap into like deeply complex emotional moments, right? Like you get that.
Yeah.
You're in it. Most of the time as a kid, you don't get it. You're like, why is everyone crying when someone's leaving? That's weird. But there are periodically like points in your life as a child where like I have one specific memory where like I was leaving England and I was suddenly like incredibly sad, and I'm like, oh, I'm crying, and so is everyone else. And normally I'd be like, why is everyone crying? Let's get on a plane or whatever.
I'm going to play with
But
fucking
like,
whatever.
yeah, that you have moments where like you tap into that kind of
I had the same thing leaving New Zealand.
yeah, you tap into this sort of collective emotional sort of telepathy, whatever that is.
Magic mumbo
Well,
jumbo.
I mean, that's what Stephen King talks about in a lot of his books. Telepathy is just the word we give it, but it's like there is this element of people are really good at sharing moments, and this is
Right,
such a
yeah.
good example of that. They executed so well in this film, where it's like the moments where it matters, like yeah, you're there with them, and they're there, and like when Loudmouth Kitty fucking picks up the baseball bat, I'm like, yeah, get him.
I
Like,
was like,
I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
boy,
fucking kill that clown.
let's
Like I'm there.
go. I was so ready.
There is nothing more delightful than when a film.
I'm so glad
Yes.
they didn't kill the black kid. I mean, I knew he wouldn't die because he can't die. He's in the story. But I was like, man, I'm so glad they didn't just axe him
But
randomly.
they didn't just kill a kid for no reason. Like none of the main cast.
Yeah, none of the main cast die. Yeah,
And like they suffered injuries, stuff like. But I just thought like
and
it
like
was-
horrific, goddamn emotional
oh,
trauma.
dog, you wait for chapter 2.
Yeah, like fuck.
Yeah, but like I don't even what was I gonna fuck I was gonna say something. Help me
Kids.
out. Kids, good, collective telepathy.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's why I think the narrative structure works really well. Is what you end up with is you have the setup of each of the kids' kind of fears in inverted commas, but really what you have is the setup of the way that each kid will overcome their fear. So you have, Billy, where he's got to actually decide that Georgie is really
Georgie
dead.
is
You've
dead,
got, was it Sam? Was Sam the cattle kids? Was he the with
The lamb one.
was that Sam? I can't remember his name.
I don't remember many of their names.
Yeah, it's fuzzy on my head. I can't remember what the loudmouth kid was called. But the cattle kid, he when he conquered his fear, then when he went down and the second time he was good to go, and then you had the loudmouth kid who was afraid of clowns, which of course is like the ironic twist on the whole story, because if you're afraid of clowns, are you actually afraid of Pennywise? And it turns out
Yeah.
what he was really afraid of was like letting his friends down, because
He was also afraid of being one of the kids who was like stolen because he had the
Right, like he was afraid-
he had
yeah.
that missing thing.
he was afraid to.
He was afraid of like dying, and he probably sort of projected
Onto
that
the clowns.
onto Pennywise.
Right, and then what you end
Yeah.
up with is a kid who's like willing to risk his life to save his friends, and then
Yeah.
and then you've got Bev who's like, she conquers her fear by.
She's just afraid of blood.
well, she's afraid of her father, and she conquers that by
Yeah.
defeating him, and
Do you think she's afraid of her like oncoming womanhood?
Well, she
'Cause
must
there
be.
is-
Well,
there
she,
is that-
it's
there is
Stephen.
that-
It's very much like Carrie vibes on that. Well, it must be right because that
'Cause
means
she-
that because
she
he's saying
also-
and he's saying you're my little girl. Like there's an element of
And when she's buying the tampon,
Yeah, the tampons.
Tampax,
Yeah, and
as they call it over
yeah,
there.
well, that's what that was
It's
like
the
the
brand
brand.
name.
Yeah, but like that's such right. Like she's afraid of becoming a woman because she knows that when she is, there's like this potential for
There's,
her
like,
father to damage her
pressures and
further.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than that. I think it's like that abuse. You can hide a little bit when you're a kid, but the minute that you're like a woman, then there's like consequences.
Yeah.
But there's consequences. You know what I mean? Like the stakes are raised.
Tricky subject coming from two white guys.
Well, it's like, but it's something that Stephen King always explores, and that's something
Right.
that I think is like it needs to be talked about more. It's like a middle American problem. Like there's like a lot of that in.
Was this in Maine? This was in Maine, wasn't it?
Well, it's Derry, Maine, but yeah.
Yeah, there was again when the bully was sitting in front of the car before he got his knife, the number plate said Maine, and I laughed.
Yeah, it's High Rock, but it's close to Maine.
It's like it's in Maine.
Yeah, I mean, all of his stories are because like you write what you know.
Where's the alcoholic?
The father?
There really
the
wasn't-
cop was. He was drinking all the time.
Yeah, true.
And so was.
I feel like
the cop when he died, he had like 8 beers in front of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that to me, like this film speaks to a level of if you just if you spend time with the material and understand like the force, like the driving force behind it, the kind of natural,
Yeah.
like whatever it is that makes stories good beyond like the structure and the characters, like this tapped into that so well that, and I get the criticism, like it's not that scary, it's kind of dumb, whatever. That's fine, but like this, I felt something and I was engaged, and I can go to sleep tonight and be happy knowing that I was engaged in a story that took me somewhere.
And then you can go to sleep tonight and have
fucking-
horrendous nightmares.
I have to get out of bed at some point to go pee, and I'm gonna be afraid that my legs are gonna get ripped off.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where part of me wishes this film came out like before The Dark Tower, but like not before The Dark Tower we got. If we got this and then we got The Dark Tower, I would be even more angry at The Dark Tower. But it's like I wish we got this so that
prove it, that
people
you can
were
do it.
like, this is how you do Stephen King, and then it influenced The Dark Tower. Because like, if they're trying to do, I mentioned this in the car, but if they're trying to do sort of like Dark Tower universe stuff,
Well, it's sort of
then why do Dark Tower like first?
well, because it's not the point of his overlapping worlds isn't that like
it's not like an MCU timeline. It's just
it's
all they all mesh, right?
his idea of like the world from what you get from his books, and like particularly in the Dark Tower does a good job
Yeah.
of it, is like time becomes like soft in like different places in your life where like you kind of just like you lose transience of when things are happening,
Yeah.
and like that can happen with the world
Well, I
too.
mean, yeah, they could have. Yeah, I feel like this is a remake of it. Do like remake like 1308, even though that's actually a pretty decent film. Like remake his other stuff, and then do The Dark Tower, right? Because then all of those.
Yeah, it
cool
was great because it was like his magnum opus, and you'd read
Yeah.
so much of him, and you were like, oh my
It's
god,
the
that's
It's like the Avengers.
You're like,
yeah.
oh my god, it's the character from Hearts in Atlantis. It's
Yeah.
like this, but it's like the Avengers, but they're all fucked up, sad people in like a terrible dying world.
Then
And-
maybe I would like have a better idea of what those three.
or even if
glowy
just
orbs
the
were.
Dark Tower was good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
if the Dark Tower was good. Yeah, look, if the Dark Tower was good, it would have like made this film even better.
I'm
Because then it
looking-
would have been like you looking at the books.
I'm looking at my bookshelf and looking at all my Stephen King books, and like they've done a lot of them in film, and they're not good. Misery's amazing.
They've done a lot of his. They've done Carrie, haven't they?
They've done that like 4 times, dude. They've done so many of his stuff, but like,
They've done some. I know there's all of his like TV specials. and
well,
they're all-
yeah, he's got
they're all shit apparently.
He's got The Mist is out, which is a remake of the film, which was based on the book. But like, I think ultimately, like the reason that when adaptations are good of his
I need to
stuff,
see The Mist. Yeah,
film's okay, ending's amazing.
right.
Like it's one of those things where I think when you can tap into what makes it work, it works.
Yeah.
And there's not like, I don't know, there's no like clever dramatic point to this one. Like it's not usually we're like, oh my god, it's amazing because of these things. They just
Yeah.
like got it. Like you can just tell that the people that wrote the screenplay
Yeah.
were like, we understand. And then the director went, I get it. And then the producers went, I also get it.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's got a vision to it. It's got a tone. It like
They
aesthetically
nailed the
feels away.
aesthetic. Yeah,
It
and
feels
it's-
right. It's so 90s, but not in like a glaring like we're in the 90s.
Yeah, it's
thing.
not. It's not like super glaring. It's not like people are wearing. Well, no, people are wearing denim overalls in this film.
right, but like they drive Trans Ams, but it's not like there's not like a thing. It just is. It's
Yeah,
very, it's
like,
very
it's-
like freaks and geeks kind of.
Yeah, the aesthetic isn't overbearing. Once you get past
Once
like
you adjust to it.
once you get past like the school, like once like the opening scene could be anywhere. it's just suburbia.
Yeah.
Once you like the school, like the opening school scene really like sets it up because it's just so like
So
not
nice.
generic, but it's like all of the beats happen. You get the bullies, you get the
it's-
girl, you get the shithead girl, you get the girl in the bathroom
Yeah.
smoking, you get the bullies again.
Yeah, you get the
you get
geeks.
like you get the chubby new kid, and you get like the new kids on the block. Which I fuck, this shit was funny.
Fuck, it was good.
Fuck,
it
is
was
the
good.
funniest joke.
My favorite part of that is
It
when
was-
she pulls the door
Yeah.
off. And she's like,
And
listen, I'm like, yes, that's so good.
It plays like a riff, like it plays like half,
Oh,
like
it's so
30
good.
seconds of a riff.
Oh.
It's just so funny. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of love triangles. I don't like the
It's
one
not-
in this film.
It's not really a triangle.
It's not really. Yes, it is.
Well,
It's
but, like,
two guys going for the same girl. It's like
Yeah, but it's
carbon.
Yeah, but
love.
it's implicit.
and like
that-
she doesn't know which one go for.
Yeah, but it's implicit in the script that like it's not going to be the fat kid. Like
Yeah.
it's in the text that it's not.
Yeah,
gonna
and you're
be,
and you're meant to feel bad for the fat girl.
Yeah, like, it's
I
in
felt
the
bad
text
for
of the
fat
film,
kid.
and you're like, that
I was like,
sucks.
damn, you were the one. You fucking
Well, it sucks, but like that's not how life works, and that's just like a
sucks to be the fat kid.
Stephen King like stepping on your big toe again, being like, things don't work out, kid.
I think
You know what I mean?
just there's so many. I don't know why I was reminded of the scene where they're just like standing at the top of the quarry in their tidy whities, and it's just like, God, this film's dumb.
It's such a Stephen King
It's
'90s
such a
moment. Though, like
fucking
it's so
dumb thing.
it's so like what do
so
you?
dumb.
But like, of course, like it
Yeah.
was the '90s. That was what
Yeah.
kids did. Like the stuff they did in this was like, yeah, duh. Like it all checks out. I'm like, Stephen King knew that shit.
So dumb.
He just he hits all the boxes, and you're like, yeah, I guess kids. Are
Well, I
stupid.
mean, he like how old's Stephen King? He's like in
fucking
his-
old now. He's like
like-
70, man.
Wait, wait, actually?
Yeah, man. He's like getting
Oh my
up there.
god.
He's getting up
I
there.
guess he's been around a while.
Yeah, man.
So he would have been more like what, 60 in the 90s?
Nah, man. It would have been like
50?
50 in the 90s. man.
Yeah.
How do you do math? He would have been like 50 in the 90s. He
Oh yeah, it's
yeah,
2017.
his grandkids would have been that age when he was.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, his kids. Well, his kids like.
In my brain, I was
30.
like, he grew up in the 90s.
Nah, man, fuck
He
that.
grew up in
man.
like
Nah,
the
man.
50s.
Yeah, man, he's fucking been around for a while.
Oh boy.
But like, no, I mean, the truth is that like, there is this level of Stephen King through this, but it's not even like I keep right, but it's not about King's work. Like, it's about the fact that they just were like, we get what adaptation is, we're gonna do it well, and we're gonna tell a story that when you come out of it, and this is like the most important thing is, everything now has to be like post-ironic modern. It has to be like.
Yeah.
Tongue-in-cheek,
You have to do
like
a twist ending.
it's yeah, but
or-
this is such like I can't stress enough like how this makes me like believe that you can make a film that just like believes in itself again. Like you don't have to be like, and here's a clever sequel, even though it does set up a sequel. It's not like here's like a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's like Tony Stark and the Avengers. It's not like Batman v Superman where it's like, but is he dead? Like it just commits to what it does, and it does it well, and it
It's
tells
like-
an earnest story with characters.
It's the Wonder Woman of horror films.
Yeah, except without a bad CGI ending fight. Like it, like I don't know.
Look.
That was a drive-by. I didn't mean to drive by Wonder Woman. I didn't know that film. But like, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like I just think I'm doing like an impassioned rant. I don't mean
You
to,
are.
but you know, it's so refreshing, and I'm delighted.
I've never been a huge fan of like horror films, and I've never been a huge fan of modern horror. Like I like sort of older horror. So like I love Alien, which horror. But like The
That's more
Thing,
thriller.
yeah, The Thing is like I love The Thing, and like all these like classic sort of horror films that there's like the wanky stuff like Psycho, which is like whatever.
Yeah.
But there was like there's been a period of just like complete shit horror films. So like Saw 3 onwards, like Saw 1 and 2 are good, but like Saw 3 onwards, where it's like
Oh, you mean like, you talking about like Hollywood horror, where it's all
like
just nothing?
Paranormal Activity, yeah, and like the Annabelle movies, which fucking suck, and I've seen all of them.
The first one's alright.
Yeah, the first one's pretty good, but
Yeah.
then they just
Did you see
they're
Breathe?
doing.
The one with the blind guy who turned out not. It was really good until they ruined it by being like he's not actually blind. And you're like,
fun.
Dumb twist.
And like all of those films just do the same shit like over and over.
Same tropes. They know it works. People love
Yeah,
it.
and I think like this film's really good because it takes a bit of Babadook in like the way that they. So like the thing I like about the Babadook is the like the animation that they use, like the really like like the ethereal, like the thing where they just make the like the weird like animation where just the character just like shakes and
Yeah, the
moves
frames
really
are
quick.
weird and you're like,
yeah,
what's
where
happening?
they chop, they like half the frame rate, and like just have them shake
So
a bunch, and it's just like
unsettling.
and you're like, oh, it's
Man,
like
there's something about that
it's
is, like,
a
so
really cool
horrifying.
technique, and they used it sparingly in this film. Like they used it on that like the kid with no head, which was I was
Oh.
just like, oh, I'm down, like I'm down with
Yeah,
this
man,
film.
that was like, yeah, there was a few moments where he would like snap between places, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh
And
no,
you're just like, oh.
there's something so horrifying. about that.
It's like it's the kind of film where like it really like ticks some people off, not like angers them, but like triggers them, because it's that kind of like you're seeing a humanoid figure move not the way it should.
It's so unsettling.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, you think about if you're going to make like a physical representation of what fear is, it's not some complex, deep, genius thing. It's just like
Yeah.
a thing that's scary and doesn't make you feel right. And this, like, the whole film is like, you'll float here too. It's like, fuck, man.
That whole like, because at first, like, because I didn't like because I haven't seen the film or like read the book. For me, that was always been like, dead bodies float in the water.
No, man. No, man.
No, it was
man.
floating. I was like, oh, that's what he means by
Yeah,
floating.
man. But like,
And like
oh,
because
man.
there's so many levels to it. There's like the balloon. It's like you'll
Yeah.
float too. And like I was just like, oh, does he just float kids away in the sky? And it's like, well, no, he pulls people into the sewer, so they float
Yeah.
on the water. No, they just float.
But they would keep floating up if you didn't keep them down. That's just like balloons. Anyway, like, it's so clever. That's why this is the great. Like, it's just, and then he builds a giant tower. Fuck, man, it's so.
And then he dances. Oh boy,
Boy, I love this film. Hey, can we? We suck this film's dick pretty hard. But
We
like,
did.
I do want to be that guy that's like, we try and analyze stuff, and I feel like we did a decent job of like trying to break down why we enjoyed it, not just being like it was good, but like, the truth. Fuck, I like this film.
I can't. Yeah, I'd have to like go away for a bit and come back to be like,
Just
here's
stay
the
on
things that I don't like about it, because there's probably
There's
a few
stuff,
things,
but
but like, fuck, the film's good. Just go see it.
Fine, because we had a great time.
Yeah.
And this is the happiest, like, with the way that we're talking, this is the happiest we've been in a while. Like, we've had some good stuff, but, like, we clearly enjoyed this. This isn't
I'm
like an
like, yeah.
affectation.
This is the kind of film where it's like,
I'm bubbling.
I messaged Laura after, she was just like, are you spooked? And I was just like,
No, I'm happy.
I was like, it's a fun film. And she's like, what?
It's
I was
so
like,
fun.
this film is fun.
It makes me believe in people and films again.
Yeah.
And it's hard given the current climate, but, like, this is what storytelling's about.
Yeah.
It's about taking, like, a really good concept.
I don't get where people have been coming saying that this is like the scariest film of the year, because like it's the best horror film of the year. It's not the scariest.
But
like
people
it's,
conflate the two, right?
yeah,
But it's not. It's not scary. It's just
good.
It's just delightful.
It's just a grand old time.
It's so hard to explain. I don't know. That's where we should wrap up. We feel like we're just saying the same shit. But like, man, I cannot convey how much I thoroughly enjoyed this. That's all I gotta
really
say.
like this film.
I really enjoyed it. And I get there's problems with it, and I cannot wait to see people try and address those. But I had a great time, and I'm impassioned by this film to tell good stories.
Yeah.
And that is what good stories are for.
I think
know?
the one like minor thing that I can think of the top of my head is when they go into the house the first time. It's a bit confusing as to why there's only 3 of them together and the rest of them are just off somewhere else.
I feel like they cut a scene.
Yeah, I feel like there's a missing scene
a
there.
runtime
Apart
thing.
from that, fantastic. It's a good time.
So, any recommendations, Ben, this week?
It.
Yeah, go see it. You can't do the thing we did the episode on. That's cheating.
Jesus, no, I've been so fucking busy.
Yeah,
I haven't
man.
had time to do anything.
I've been rewatching Friday Night Lights, and that's been amazing. So go buy that on iTunes. They don't sponsor us. I just want them to. It's such a good TV show.
Sure.
That's pretty much it. I think.
Divinity Original Sin 2 is out. I don't know if it's good.
I don't know if it's good. I've been getting back into the Mountain Goats, the band. They're really good. I think that's it. So as always, Ben, where can people find us?
Facebook,
DCMWorks Social
Twitter,
at DCM_works.
YouTube.
YouTube.com/DCMworks if you want to see the video of this, if you're not already watching it. If you are watching the video, shout outs to those.
Check the pillow.
Check the pillow. Where can people buy that, Ben?
Redbubble.
Redbubble.com/DCMworks. We have merchandise. Got some more stuff coming out. It's all going to be great. Make sure you follow us if you, even if you don't donate. One of the things that's really good is to follow us on Patreon. You can just follow us, and that way you'll get updates when we post stuff.
Patreon.
And if you donate more than $3 a month, you get access to our Patreon-only show, Open to Suggestion, where we tell each other spooky stories.
Patreon.com/DCMworks.
The latest one is crazy. The part 2 is buck wild of Interface. There's some boys. If you liked it, you will fucking love Interface.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. Check that out. I think
a
that's
lot of-
yeah. Is that all our plugs? I think it is.
I think it is.
As always, I'm at DC on my head pie.
Matt Little Citrus.
We'll see you guys next week.
I'm gonna.
It was probably a song that reminded me of it, or I'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Writing is definitely an isolating thing.
From an outside perspective, that's weird as
It makes
fuck.
us look really mental.
But that is because of what it kind of said about art.
I had fun in bits. There were fun bits.
We went and bought a value pack of straps.
Oh my god, we did. There's a big lesson here to learn about storytelling.